swear my hand's gonna be stained green after this. Hi, I'm Kate and welcome to my channel. It is St. Patrick's Day, so what better day to share all of my favorite green eyeshadows. So I love wearing green eyeshadow. I wear it at least once a week. It has quickly turned into one of my favorite colors to wear. So I do have a lot of like palettes that have 1 or 2 greens in it that I won't share today, but I will be sharing a bunch of palettes that have quite a few greens, maybe not necessarily a green palette, but have quite a few greens. And then I'm also going to share a bunch of my favorite green singles. So I will start out with what I'm wearing on my eyes today. It was the palette that I ranked #1 for 2021, and it's the Blend Bunny Surge palette. Now, this is not a green palette. However, you have an entire row over here, column of greens, another one over here. This palette is fantastic. The mattes are great, the shimmers are great. So I have been digging in a lot, especially when I need like some bright greens. I did a neon look the other day. With the neon green, I'll try to share some looks up here of some of these palettes. And then the shimmer on my eyes today is a Terra Moon's shade that I will be mentioning later. All right, let's dive into some like strictly green palettes. So if you're looking for some green shadows and want something small and affordable, I do have this little mini Tasty Avocado from I Heart Revolution. So it is just a little 8-pan palette. I haven't dug into this too much because I have so many other greens, but this is a really pretty little palette if you just want a couple greens in your collection and you don't want to really invest a lot in them. You do have a couple neutral shades over here, the rest are greens. The shimmers are actually really pretty. They're kind of wet feeling. They're not like the most sparkly, but they are pretty. So again, just a nice little compact green palette. All right, and my other pure green palettes are all from ColourPop. So next up is the Just My Luck palette. Now this was the first green palette that I tried. I had never really worn green shadows before and I tried this and loved it. The range of greens in here, from some really soft minty greens to some really deep grungy olive greens. And then this Mary Jane shade in the middle is just really fun. So this is just a great green palette with a great range of shades. Of course, the other green palette, which probably would have gone better with my outfit today from ColourPop, is the Mint To Be palette. Now this is just a pure mint palette. You do have a shade to deepen things up. The shimmers are really soft and pretty. Let's see, I'll grab a few of them here. So some really pretty shimmers. This palette performs beautifully. This is great for springtime with just the soft green shadows. I haven't done many looks with just this palette, but I do pair this a lot when I need some lighter shades to buff things out with and some more minty shimmer shades. All right, just a couple more from ColourPop, but next up is the Child palette. So this is a very neutral leaning green palette. There's a lot of really fun soft green shades. I don't find that I get a super green look when I use this. It does lean more neutral to me, but again, if you're looking to just dive in and try some greens and you haven't used a lot, this is a really nice subtle way to do it. This gold shimmer is really pretty, and then you have some kind of softer kind of gold greens that are really pretty as well. So the Child. All right, and last from ColourPop, not a true green palette, but a palette with a lot of greens, is the Tinkerbell Sprinkle a Little Magic palette. Now this ranked pretty low on my 2021 palette ranking video. I'll link the video below. Just because I don't find myself reaching for these tones of green. You do have some kind of brighter greens, not quite neon, but bright greens, some pretty deep teal greens. I felt like the pinky mauve shades didn't really go with the rest of it. I would have preferred maybe some other tones of green for this. Maybe a bright white shimmer, but there are some really fun greens in this palette. All right, one of my most used green palettes is the BH Cosmetics Avocado Toast. I love this palette. All of the BH palettes in this size are fantastic. The Blueberry Muffin is great as well. Summer in Saint-Tropez, but this one is the one that is probably my favorite and the most used out of all of them. You have some really pretty green shades, some grungier green tones, some teal greens, gold greens, and then a few neutrals sprinkled in there for the fun of it. But this is a great green palette that gives you a good variety. So if you're looking for something green that's very wearable, this is definitely a good one to grab. All right, we're left with a few of my favorite indie brands for palettes, and then we'll hop into singles. Next up from Odin's Eye is the Erd palette. Now another really nice kind of grungy green tone palette. That soft green at the end, to me it just dusted away, couldn't really see it. But the green shimmer down here is really dark and pretty. The shimmer in the middle is great, and then the green and the neutral deep brown. This is a great way to get kind of a green neutral leaning look. Shadows perform beautifully. It's just a great palette. All right, if you didn't pick up on it yet, I really like the grungy green tones a lot. I haven't done a lot of like brighter greens until more recently, but a lot of the palettes that I've had for a while definitely lean more grungy green, including the Kaleidos Futurism Sci-Fi Green. The packaging is just really, I don't know, feels pretty luxurious for these palettes. I have a few of these size palettes, but this is the Sci-Fi Green. So you do have some mustardy tones down here, but otherwise some really pretty grungy greens, a green gold and a black to round it out. This is a great palette, really similar to another palette that I'll share next, but I just like the size of this. It's really easy to travel, really compact, but you can easily make a decent variety of looks for only being 6 shades. And the palette that reminds me of is that it's just a smaller version of one of my favorite palettes in my entire collection, which is the Melt Gemini. This is like perfection in a palette to me. You do have some warm neutrals that are really pretty. I usually stick over here with these green shadows. You have some of like the kind of pukey greens, which they look really pretty on the eye, I promise. A nice deep shimmer. I typically will top these shades with like a brighter shimmer, but these mattes are some of the best mattes I've ever used, and these are some of my favorite green shadows. And last for the palettes, I have one more from Melt, and it is the 420 palette. Now this one had a lot of controversy with the quality. I didn't really have any issue with blending out. Again, you do have some of the yellows and warmer tones, but down here you have some great greens. Similar tones to some of the Melt shades, but you get a brighter kind of chartreusey green in here. I just love these tones. Just that grungy green feel is definitely something that I like and wear a lot. All right, I think for the singles, I'm going to do some swatching. So I think I'll bring it in a little closer because my favorite green singles are my favorites because they are more special and unique. So I definitely want to make sure that you can see how they look swatched. All right, so first up I do have, so most of my singles are in these palettes and I have a few other magnetic palettes as well, but some of my favorite singles are from Black Moxie. So you can see these are all of my Black Moxie shades. I have quite a few greens, so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch those. All right, so I know they don't all maybe come as green, like across in a swatch, but so let's see if I get them right. I have Emerald City, Nirvana, Gold Phantom, Blue Gold Stone, and Dawn Myth. So those are some of my favorite shadows from Black Moxie and some really beautiful greens. I do have one green from JD Glow that I really like, which is right here. It is Prismatic. It's one of my favorite greens. It's just like so bright and fun. Look at that shade, it's so pretty. So that's Prismatic from JD Glow. All right, I do have the whole Halo Moon collection from Divina. So these ones, I don't even know if you can see colors just in this view, but I will swatch a couple that are more green toned. Again, they might not come across green because they are multi-chromes, but oh, those are so pretty. So those are from the Halo Moon collection from Divina. Great about those shadows is they layer beautifully on mattes and they can kind of change a whole look. The look of these shadows can change depending on what mattes they're layered on as well. And last but not least, by far my biggest singles collection, I have quite a few from Terra Moons. So this is my Terra Moons collection. I do have quite a few greens from them. It's hard to tell, like the one I'm wearing today is right here, which is the shade M51. So I'll swatch that first. So that is M51, which is what's on my lids today. Okay, this one is Mint Frosting. The second one there is Mint Frosting. Next up is Pisces, which is the third one down there. All right, and then the last shade I have is Cosmic Dancer. Now from different angles, this looks green, pink, and blue, so I can't tell quite how that's gonna come across, but I love Terra Moon's shadows. They are fantastic, especially their more duochrome and multi-chrome shades. So my hand is now a stained green multi-chrome hand. Thank you so much for watching all of my favorite green palettes and green single shadows. Let me know below if you have any green favorites that I didn't share today. I'm always looking to hear about people's favorite greens because it is my favorite. But again, thank you for watching and I'll see you soon.